Imagine waking up every morning with the certainty that you can face any challenge the day brings. Imagine possessing an inner strength so powerful that nothing and no one can disturb your peace. Is that possible? According to the great Stoic thinkers, the answer is yes. Seneca, one of the pillars of Stoicism, once said, "If you do not know where you are going, no wind is favorable." This profound reflection invites us to consider the direction we are taking in life. Have you ever stopped to ask yourself if you are truly in control? Or have you allowed emotions, external circumstances, and the opinions of others to dictate your choices? Today, I invite you to embark on a journey that can transform the way you see the world and yourself. Together, let's explore the Stoic principles that have not only stood the test of time, but also continue to offer practical wisdom for living a balanced and meaningful life. Throughout this video, you'll discover how Stoicism can help you overcome destructive emotions, develop self-control, and achieve an inner strength that nothing can shake. But first, let me share a story. Imagine a man named Epictetus. He wasn't born into wealth or privilege. Far from it. Epictetus was a slave, constrained by some of the most adverse conditions imaginable. Yet, he refused to let his circumstances define him. He firmly believed that while we cannot control what happens around us, we have complete control over how we choose to respond. And so, he transcended his situation, becoming one of the greatest teachers of philosophy in history. This is the essence of Stoicism: control over oneself, no matter the chaos outside. But how can we apply this in our daily lives? Let's explore the key principles that form the foundation of this philosophy. First principle: what's in your control and what's not. Marcus Aurelius, the great philosopher-emperor, gave us one of Stoicism's most important lessons: the distinction between what is within your control and what is not. He wrote, "If you are upset by something external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your evaluation of it." Think about it. How many times have you allowed something trivial to upset you? It could be traffic that makes you late, a harsh comment from someone, or even a mistake you've made. The truth is, much of the suffering we experience doesn't come from the events themselves, but from how we interpret and react to them. Imagine someone criticizes you harshly. The criticism itself is just a series of words. Yet, it might provoke a storm of emotions: anger, sadness, or even shame. Why? Because you interpreted those words as a personal attack or a threat to your self-esteem. But what if you chose to see that criticism differently? What if you saw it as an opportunity to learn, or simply as an opinion that doesn't define you? This is the heart of this principle. Understanding that while we cannot control other people's actions or opinions, we have full control over how we choose to respond. The metaphor of the archer, often used in Stoicism, illustrates this idea perfectly. An archer can prepare meticulously, adjusting the bow, focusing on the target, and using the best technique. But once the arrow is released, external factors, like the wind or the target's movement, can alter the result. What does this teach us? That we should focus only on what is within our control, our effort, preparation, and intention. As for the rest, we must calmly accept what we cannot change. Practice this principle in your daily life. When something bothers you, ask yourself, do I have the power to change this? If the answer is no, focus on accepting the situation. If the answer is yes, direct your energy toward what you can do. This simple mindset shift can transform your life, freeing you from unnecessary frustration and anxiety. Second principle: the power of the present. How often does our mind wander between regrets about the past and anxieties about the future? This is a common aspect of the human experience and one of the main causes of suffering. Epictetus, one of the great masters of Stoicism, reminds us, it is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Living in the present is a powerful and liberating skill, but it requires practice. An uncontrolled human mind tends to dwell on past events that cannot be changed or on worries about an uncertain future. This habit of rumination keeps us trapped in a state of constant restlessness. To understand the importance of the present, consider this example. You're with your family at a special dinner. However, instead of enjoying the moment, your mind is focused on a work problem that may never come to fruition. The result? You miss out on creating precious memories because you were physically present but emotionally absent. Stoicism teaches us that the present moment is the only place where we have control. The past is immutable. it has already happened. The future does not yet exist and is therefore impossible to control. Focusing on the present is the key to inner peace and a more balanced life. One practical exercise to bring your mind back to the present moment is the practice of mindfulness. Whenever you find yourself lost in thoughts about the past or the future, ask yourself, what can I do right now to improve this situation? This simple question helps redirect your mental energy to what really matters, the here and now. Another Stoic exercise is to reflect daily. If this were my last day, what would I do differently? This helps eliminate distractions and encourages us to value the present moment, allowing us to make more conscious choices aligned with our values. Finally, remember that living in the present does not mean ignoring the past or neglecting the future. It means learning from the past, planning for the future wisely, but not allowing either to steal what is most precious, the moment that is happening now. After all, it is only in the present that we can act, decide, and live. Third principle, virtue as the only true good. For the Stoics, true happiness does not depend on material possessions, fame, or power. It lies in living virtuously, that is, acting with reason, justice, courage, and moderation. Seneca expressed this simply but powerfully when he said, "Wealth is a servant to the wise and a master to the fool." The meaning of this phrase leads us to a deep reflection on what we truly value in life. In Stoicism, virtue is more than an abstract concept. It is a practical guide for our choices and actions. Wisdom lies in making conscious decisions based on reason and discernment. Courage appears when we face life's challenges without giving in to fear. Justice manifests itself in treating others fairly and seeking the common good. And moderation helps us avoid excesses, finding balance in our emotions and desires. These principles can be applied to any everyday situation. When you choose not to retaliate against a provocation, you are exercising moderation. When you keep your word even when it is not convenient, you are being fair. When you face a problem without hiding or running away, you are practicing courage. The constant practice of these virtues transforms the way you see the world and strengthens your character. We often get caught up in superficial pursuits, seeking external validation through status, material possessions, or recognition. Stoicism reminds us that all of this is fleeting. True wealth lies in character, in who you are when no one is looking. An individual who acts with virtue is unshakable because their happiness does not depend on external factors. By adopting this philosophy, you will find an inner peace that protects you from the storms of life. Fourth principle, Memento Mori. Remember that you will die. Memento Mori is one of the most profound concepts of Stoicism. Translated from Latin, it means, remember that you will die. Far from being pessimistic or macabre, this idea is a call to full awareness. It reminds us that life is finite and, therefore, each moment should be lived with meaning and purpose. Marcus Aurelius, in his Reflections, wrote, "You can leave life now. Let it determine what you do, say, and think." This phrase challenges us to rethink how we spend our time. Are we prioritizing what truly matters? How often do we get lost in distractions and trivial concerns, forgetting that time is our most precious resource? Reflecting on mortality should not paralyze us but instead motivate us. Imagine today was your last day. What would you do differently? Who would you hug? What would you let go of? These questions have the power to clarify our priorities and bring focus to what is truly important. Memento Mori teaches us to appreciate the present moment and let go of what does not add value to our lives. Every moment is a unique opportunity, and wasting it is a mistake we cannot undo. It also encourages us to value our relationships and live more fully, expressing love, gratitude, and generosity. Accepting the brevity of life is liberating. When we recognize that death is inevitable, we become less fearful. This realization allows us to embrace life with greater lightness, focusing on what truly matters. Instead of fearing the end, we learn to live with purpose and courage, cherishing each day as a gift that should not be squandered. Fifth principle, love fate, Amor Fati. Stoicism invites us to accept everything that happens in our lives, whether good or bad, with serenity and even gratitude. This idea, known as Amor Fati or love of fate, does not imply passivity or resignation. On the contrary, it is a call to find value in all situations, even the most challenging ones. Consider a difficult situation you have faced, such as losing a job, ending a relationship, or confronting an illness. At the time, it may have felt painful and unfair. However, over time, you might recognize that the experience brought growth, new opportunities, or greater resilience. This is the power of Amor Fati, transforming suffering into growth. Practicing Amor Fati is like learning to dance with the unexpected. Instead of resisting or lamenting what cannot be changed, you embrace it as part of a greater plan. Every obstacle becomes a chance to reinvent yourself, every failure a lesson, and every loss an invitation to treasure what remains. This active acceptance helps us live with greater ease. Rather than wasting energy trying to change what has already happened or resisting the inevitable, we focus on what is within our control, our attitudes and reactions. Over time, this practice strengthens us and equips us to face any challenge, transforming even the most difficult situations into opportunities for growth. Sixth principle: the importance of emotional resilience. Emotions are a natural part of the human experience. We feel joy, sadness, anger, fear, and countless others. However, Stoicism teaches us that while emotions are inevitable, we should not let them control us. Instead, we must learn to understand and manage them rationally. When something negative happens, such as criticism, a mistake, or an unexpected problem, our initial reaction might be anger or despair. This is natural. But the Stoics encourage us to take a step back and ask ourselves, is this really as serious as it seems? Is it worth expending so much emotional energy on this? For example, imagine receiving criticism at work. You can either let it upset you and ruin your day, or you can view it as an opportunity to improve and grow. This choice defines emotional resilience. Being resilient does not mean repressing your emotions, but rather understanding them and responding in a balanced way. Ask yourself, will this situation matter a month or a year from now? More often than not, you'll realize that what troubles you today is insignificant in the grand scheme of things. Practicing resilience is like strengthening a muscle. Start small. When something bothers you, take a deep breath and try to see the situation objectively. Over time, you'll find yourself better equipped to handle even the toughest challenges without losing your emotional balance. This emotional strengthening not only helps us navigate everyday problems more effectively, but also builds the confidence and composure needed to face larger adversities. After all, true strength lies in maintaining calm and clarity, even amidst chaos. Seventh principle: simplicity as a lifestyle. The Stoics believe that true happiness does not come from accumulating material possessions or chasing fame and power. Instead, it lies in living a simple life and focusing on what truly matters. Epictetus wisely said, "Wealth lies not in having many things, but in needing few." Take a moment to reflect. Does everything you pursue, buy, or desire genuinely bring you happiness? Often, we become so consumed with acquiring more that we forget to appreciate what we already have. Stoicism encourages us to live more lightly, letting go of excessive consumption and the endless pursuit of more. Living simply means valuing what truly matters, such as time with family, meaningful friendships, personal growth, and moments of peace. It is about finding joy in life's small pleasures, a good book, a heartfelt conversation, or a quiet moment of reflection. When we embrace simplicity, we free ourselves from unnecessary worries and gain more energy to focus on what genuinely brings us joy and purpose. Simplicity teaches us that fulfillment does not come from things, but from how we live and what we share with others. Stoicism is not a distant or outdated philosophy. It is a practical guide for modern life, a pathway to inner freedom and lasting happiness. By adopting these principles, you can transform your relationship with the world and, more importantly, with yourself. If you've made it this far, thank you for your commitment to seeking something greater for your life. Before you go, please like this video and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Don't forget to check out the next video appearing on your screen now. Until next time.